Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. This evening, our tough and intellectual streetwise gang members are Josh Brewster, a concerned American citizen. Nancy Bonus, the founder of a new organization protecting American values. And it is, Nancy?
A 501c3.
Excellent.
And I'm also the chapter leader of the San Fernando Valley Act for America in Sherman Oaks.
And what else?
That's about all for now.
All for now? And also the 1998 Nevada Beauty Queen, I have found out from my sources.
Well,
and last but not least, the irrepressible Rob Nelson, former talk show host at Fox News, and also the author of a prophetic book. What was the title again?
Last Call, 10 Common Sense Solutions for America's Biggest Problems.
And you
basically we were saying, predicting that we were heading for the cliff if we didn't make new choices, think differently, and of course we're hitting the
You're
cliff.
kind of like a prophet.
I'm a prophet.
A modern day Ezekiel.
A modern day Ezekiel.
Exactly.
Not an Islamic prophet.
Okay. Watch out, watch out. You
Ezekiel.
might get in trouble for what you're saying.
I might have. Let me do this. You always promote my book.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to promote Jamie's book.
I have a new book out.
Jamie has a new book out. Jamie Glazov's High Noon for America, The Coming Showdown. Now, if you're a spaghetti western fan and you like the drama and the action of those high noon showdowns, this is the real deal. This is the showdown between us and them. I don't want to say the good guys and the bad guys because I'm probably going to have people like doing things on me, but it's the good guys and the bad guys.
Okay, and what does Ann Coulter say about me?
Oh, sorry. Ann Coulter says, Jamie Glazov is magnificent naked. Oh, no, just Jamie Glazov is magnificent.
Thank you very much, Rob. You know, I should bring you around with me everywhere that I go. On a serious note, high noon for America, and I think it is high noon. Ladies and gentlemen, this first segment is about... And I'm always self-conscious saying that because I'm a Canadian. Did I say it wrong?
You said it right for a Canadian.
I said it right for the first time.
For a Canadian.
Thank you.
A boot.
A boot?
I did. Okay.
It's all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Obama at the United Nations the other day, how frightening. The future does not belong to the slanderers of the Prophet Muhammad. Wow. An attack on free speech. What he's basically saying, and if he understood anything about Islamic theology and Islamic understanding of what slander means, it can even be saying something that is true, because if it's unpleasant and that Muslims do not want to hear it, you can come under Islamic blasphemy laws. And in other words, we can't even say the truth about the historical record of who Muhammad was. What if another religion was creating problems today over free speech? Anyway, you know about all of this. Josh, what are your views on it?
Well, my views are this. If any other religion were standing up at the United Nations with this resolution 16/18 against blasphemy laws, they would be laughed out of the United States of America. If the Vatican were to stand up and say, please give us blasphemy laws to protect us, there's no right to not be offended. And Obama's spineless speech at the UN, you have to stand up as an American and say the reason there is a UN, and it's the reason that it's here, everything here flows from freedom of speech, and he's giving every signal to the radical Islamic world that he is going to go along with their anti-blasphemy crusade. And this anti-blasphemy crusade would be laughed right out of this country if it were Christians or Jews or anybody else weekly begging for anti-blasphemy sensitivity laws. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. And you know what, Jamie? It gets worse every week. I came here last week, and now Obama spoke, and now it's worse. It's just worse and worse and worse.
And Josh, meanwhile,
it's worse and worse and worse.
One second, and meanwhile, we have Hillary Clinton going to the Broadway musical, The Book of Mormon,
right,
which is
it's a free country.
Which is ridiculing Mormons,
it's a free country.
and she's laughing and clapping. Rob, your views on what's happening?
Well, you know, I just think it's interesting, and I will say it is one of the things that, you know, and I'm certainly the independent in the room, but in terms of left, right, Republican, Democrat. But it's one of the things that I've always felt about Obama, that it's the apologist nature that has come up, that America's gotten very comfortable with. And I say this as a patriot and not as a crazy nationalist, whatever.
Rob, all you have to do to be called a right-wing kook is to be a centrist, Rob.
Well,
that's all you have to do.
And that's why I get called it in Hollywood all the time. But the thing is that it's like from the beginning of his campaign when he said the first thing I'll do when I'm elected president is I'll sit down with the president of Iran, with Ahmadinejad, and talk. And I'm thinking, you sound like Chamberlain in Hitler.
Yeah,
I'm going to go make peace.
Right,
well, how did that work out? Peace for our
Exactly.
time, peace for our time. 2 weeks later, he invades Czechoslovakia or whatever. I mean, it's like this approach of looking at the enemy and going, how can we appease them? I don't think Obama really thinks what he's saying. He's trying to say the right thing to appease the militant uprisings, and it doesn't work because they're not going to be quiet. They'll be quiet if you go, we're standing our ground and we are not apologizing for who we are, what we believe.
I think he does mean what he's saying.
Nancy, go ahead.
I think he loves Islam. He has a love affair with Islam because from the time he was a little kid, when he went to the madrasa in Indonesia, he fell in love with Islam. He said since he's been president that one of the most beautiful sounds is the Muslim call to prayer in the evening. And when he went to Egypt, he was courting the Muslims. When he gave our NASA program to the Muslims to make them feel good, I think he really means it. And he was trying to deflect attention from the terrorists because he doesn't believe in terrorists. Look what happened with the Fort Hood massacre. The Fort Hood massacre was a workplace event. They didn't allow it to be called terrorism because he just is. I don't know. He's pro-Muslim. He's pro-Muslim.
And he's not clear. At worst, at the best, he's not clear. The fact of the matter is, he makes all these signals and these overtures. He just stands up and says, Israel should retreat to 67 borders.
Right.
Just like that. That's a signal. Okay, that's a signal to them, and he keeps feeding them these signals. And even if Nancy makes some very good points, but even if you don't even go as far as what Nancy is saying, as far as what Nancy is saying, he makes all kinds of soft overtures, Rob, to radical Islam. He says things that no one would ever say to any Christians or Jews. This whole country would tell everyone to go get screwed if they said we need anti-blasphemy laws.
Okay,
we would tell everybody who said that to get screwed.
Now, Rob,
who would put up
what you're disagreeing with, you don't see a malicious agenda, you see more of a naivete.
And I've always said that. It's not even a naivete. I think it's a way of looking at the world.
Right.
I think it's a way of I get it. I mean, I'm a Libra. I get it. I get the desire to always balance things and whatever.
Is it a softer view?
Now, it's a more
I want to move on.
Be fair and balanced.
Rob, I want to
Fox News.
Rob, I understand.
Relativism.
One second.
I think it's moral relativism.
Wait a minute.
But I don't think he loves.
Yes,
I'm saying he hates Muslims, but I don't think he's a Muslim lover and an Israeli hater. I think he just
listen. One second. We'll move on.
His father was a Muslim.
He was, but the call.
Let her finish.
His stepfather was a Muslim. His
yes, Nancy. We understand that argument, and by the way, I agree with it. I want to move on, and I'm going to let you expand on that point. It's very clear that we disagree with Rob. We've had this on our previous programs. As a study,
somebody's got to be.
One second. I want to listen. Myself, as somebody who studied the left, I believe that the Obama administration represents leftist thinking, and that he deliberately wants to destroy the United States of America, and he is going about it deliberately.
I believe
you're arguing that it's more out of naivete. We can continue that argument. We'll get there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask this. What in your mind is happening exactly with Egypt in terms of Morsi? Okay, he just gave a speech at the United Nations the other day. Here's another thing. The Obama administration facilitated the Muslim Brotherhood coming to power in Egypt, and I think that they did that deliberately. The Muslim Brotherhood is infiltrating the American administration, and I think they did that deliberately. There's real danger signs here. Your views on what's happening in Egypt with the takeover of the Muslim Brotherhood, and what that represents overall with the taking over of the Muslim Brotherhood all over the Middle East. Josh.
Syria, Tunisia, and now you have Egypt. Morsi is going to flex his muscles, and he's going to do everything he possibly can to brutalize as many Coptic Christians as he can, which they are, which the news doesn't cover, okay? And he's going to flex those muscles, and he's going to try to make that place into the new Iran. And he wants to show the West, come look at our power now. Come look at the power that I have now in Egypt. Our Jews are gone. Nasser made a point of that. Now our Christians are going to be gone. The next people are going to be gone are the apostates. Nothing good will come from the Muslim Brotherhood.
Now, just a second. And Morsi also in his UN speech is lecturing the United States that now
because he knows we're ready to cave.
Okay, Robert?
You're so weak.
Well, I'm one of the people that actually felt at the beginning. I was excited, at the uprisings, and I remember, Jamie, you actually said to me at one point, you were like, "This is not going to end well." Like that, you were basically like, this is not going to be, this movement for freedom is going to let...
It wasn't a movement for freedom.
But I think for people on the street,
you should address what Rob is saying.
I think for people on the street, there was a desire to throw off a horrible dictator.
No, those are two different things.
Yeah.
You can want to throw off a dictator. The statistics of the people on the street, the statistics are more than 80% believe in the stoning of adulterers, the killing of apostates.
75% illiteracy.
Yeah, 97% of women suffer female genital mutilation. So this mass uprising is a yearning to put Islamists in power.
For Sharia.
And this was the misunderstanding of the Arab Spring. It's an Islamist winter. Go ahead. I think
that misunderstanding, which I'm discovering, whether it was true then, it's certainly appearing true now that's what's happening and who's taking over power.
Right.
I think what's happened is we as a country, our media has kind of fed us and led us to insist and view we have to be. This is one of the things I hate about American politics, and it's true of both parties, but now we have a Democratic administration, so it's more so. You can never be wrong. You can never go, shoot, we messed up.
Right.
It's like we can't go, okay, you know what? We thought this was a great thing, but now we realize we don't like the old guy, but the new guy's not going to be much better. We got to make it look like it was a good thing and support it.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much. And I think somewhere in your contribution just now, you were giving me credit for being prophetic. But Nancy, you've been quiet for a little while.
I wrote a quote,
and
but
Nancy and I very rudely interrupted you earlier, so you go ahead. But my point to lead us into this is that people should have known from the very beginning. We saw what happened with the Ayatollah Khomeini. We know what's going on in the Middle East. For those that know what's going on, and they know about history, they know about radical Islam, it was clear what this Arab Spring was going to bring into
power.
Nancy, go ahead.
And there was something that Obama said, I was trying to find it, but I wrote notes, I can't find it. Something he said at the UN where he said that he insisted, he insisted that that Mubarak go, that Obama insisted that they intercede to get rid of Mubarak. You know, with George Bush, they were all against nation building, but with nation building,
that's right. All of a sudden,
all of a sudden it's okay, and I can't find the.
You said the quote. I found it on your notes.
What did he say? We insisted
on changing Egypt.
Insisted on changing Egypt. We insisted on changing Egypt, and so he brought about the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and that's what that same idea, which is again, it's sort of like we held on. Look, I did not like Mubarak or Gaddafi. But I get, and I've been a big believer. I'm a George Bush old school.
They didn't pose a security threat to the United States.
But I get it. I'm an old school, like sort of George Bush, first George Bush. You know, the whole, it does come out of the Republican Party. The whole idea that you know, and there's Democrat Party members who believe it too. The idea that we should lead with our values, not just with our national interests.
Rob, we gave a Democratic vote to Gaza. They elected Nazis. This happened in 1993. The same thing is happening right now.
Yeah, I want to touch on something. Rob brings up something important. American expectations of what a democratic movement or a movement of we're all going to vote. It's not, it's going to take place. Rob's expectations are very American expectations. If someone's going to overthrow their leader, we immediately get jazzed and assume this will be good, this will lead to further freedom. What we don't understand, I think Noni lays out in this, you really should read Noni's book, The Devil We Don't Know, because she's basically saying they're caught over there between dictatorship and the Brotherhood, basically. So you either have to take the Mubaraks or else you're going to have to take the Brotherhood. And that's a real grave choice.
I know, but Josh,
hold on. So, but Rob's expectations as an American, Jamie, Rob's expectations are reflective of what Americans think. They go, oh, something, freedom will come.
Yes, but Josh, where I'm frustrated is that this is such an ignorance. We've seen this
learn. It's over and over
history.
Again.
We've seen it with Somoza and the Sandinistas took over. We saw it with the Shah and Khomeini taking over. Khomeini killed more people in 2 weeks than the Shah did his whole regime. It was very obvious that this was going to happen. But look, we understand that. Let me ask you this. Rob, how is this going to play out in terms of Obama and Hillary Clinton and the administration apologizing for a film rather than standing up to jihadists that want the death of our citizens? How this is going to play out, and what do you suggest?
Well, how it's going to play out, sadly, I mean, look, Mitt Romney is the most pathetic candidate. I can't believe that's the best the Republican Party the best this country could come up with. And he's literally, there's an opportunity here for someone to stand up and be, and really help help us go forward.
What do you mean do you mean in terms of the campaign that he's not grabbing this opportunity?
He's not grabbing anything. He just I don't even even gets
He's
it.
been
But here's
cowed.
Well, just wait. Are you criticizing him for the failure of his campaign, which you're saying it is, or do you not like him?
I don't even know what
Same
he
thing,
stands
Jamie.
for. I
Huh?
don't even know what
It's the same thing.
I know what Obama
He's responsible
stands
for that
I know what
stuff that's
Obama
coming out. He's
stands for, whether I
responsible.
like it or not, or you like it or not.
Right.
What I think the problem here is, though, the bigger picture. How does this play out? Problem is
We only got 2 minutes left. Go
real
ahead.
quick. The biggest picture problem here is that when that film got released, the joke that it was, the terrorist attack happens. Our administration refuses to acknowledge it was a terrorist attack.
I want to get into that in the second segment.
So in terms of the film, the biggest problem I had was spending $7 million on ads in Pakistan to apologize for the movie and to say we didn't endorse this movie. Now the truth is, our government didn't endorse it. But we have free speech in our country.
Right.
We
And
have
they should have
the
said it.
right to
We got to go to
support the right of
Thank you.
people to say what they want. As horrendous
but
as
the
it is,
movie-
that's what a free
Rob,
speech
thank you.
society is
Listen,
about.
we got to go to the second segment. Quick summary.
The
Nancy,
movie
what
had
do you
nothing
think?
to do with it, but we're going to do that in another segment. But you know, I go back to the thing. You know, to me, any candidate is better than Obama, because I really believe Obama has an intention of tearing down our country. Everything he's doing as far as spending, overspending, is bankrupting our country. Most of the money that we're spending, we're having to borrow 70% of it from the Chinese to put us further in debt.
Well,
And
that's going to be true no matter
One second.
who's
No,
Nancy,
wait a minute. She's got a
Nancy,
point
final
there, Rob.
point.
She's got a point.
Where Rob has a point is myself, who I'm terrified of what's happening here. But when I look at Romney, where is he? Why isn't he capturing this moment?
Because
What do
he's
you think?
Romney. You know, Romney was not my choice.
This is becoming
the
a
only
trend,
thing
though,
that I like about Romney, not the only thing, one of the things I like about Romney is that he chose Paul Ryan as his running mate.
But Nancy, what do you think of how Romney is handling his campaign in terms of everything that's happening?
Well, you know, the problem is I don't know what's happening in his campaign because they don't show any ads in California. California is completely blocked out because they know that it's a Democrat state and they don't have any choice here. Nothing's going to happen. And so we don't see what he's advertising. We don't see any of his commercials or anything.
So maybe it's partly the media's fault?
I think-
Josh, final
Long
word.
story short, we'll get to this in the next
Okay.
segment, but I think that Romney should take a hint from what Netanyahu laid out today. And I'm going to tell you, if Romney gets that crystal clear about things, he'll get a really good bounce.
But where is
But this
he?
is becoming a trend. John McCain was a loser. Mitt Romney's
Was.
acting like a loser. It's becoming a
Yeah,
trend. It's
yeah.
becoming a trend, Jamie.
But
Where
you-
are the
Becoming a
Abraham
trend.
Lincolns?
But you don't think that you're with
It's
losers
becoming
here
a
today?
trend. It's becoming a trend.
But Romney is fighting back a little bit. I have heard some strength coming out of him.
I'm sorry, he's pathetic.
A little bit.
We're going to get back to you tomorrow evening with the second segment of the Glazov Gang.